It's early in the morning, and Richard Kinnell is behind the wheel of his automobile returning to his house in Maine after participating in a book online forum in Boston. He's solo on this journey. And also as he drives, he scans the landscape, keeping himself alert enough to avoid mishaps, yet bored enough to reflect on the dullness of his life. As he passes through the city limits, he finds himself transfixed by the view of a bridge he's passed hundreds of times before. On the other side, he sees a person standing there. Or perhaps he's sitting. It's hard to inform from this range. The guy is horribly emaciated and also appears to be wearing a gray striped suit. Something troubles Kinnear concerning the guy, especially his teeth. They look as though they were dramatically submitted. It takes King to move forward before Kinnell realizes that he isn't looking at a guy in all. The figure is painted on a large canvas that someone has propped up against a chain-link fence bordering the bridge. Below the paint, someone has written, "The roadway infection heads north." Intrigued, Kinnell keeps driving till he reaches a road near his campground. He turns around, returns to the bridge, and parks his auto. He intends to examine out the paint. As he nears the bridge, he notices an indication that reads yard sale, so he transforms back again and goes to it. It's held by a lady. She's friendly as well as when she learns that he saw the paint, states, "You need to purchase it." Kinnell teases her a little bit, yet ultimately asks for her to offer him the paint. The lady agrees and also says she'll take $75 for it. Kinnell writes her a check and also packs the paint in his vehicle. The woman looks sorrowful. She wishes he would throw it in the river, but he assures her that he won't. Before he leaves, she urges him to consider exactly what he's doing. He recognizes that she implies it could be a bad suggestion to bring the paint home, but he's already made up his mind. At his aunt's home, Kinnell pulls the paint out of the trunk of his car and also begins to wipe it off with a cloth. Yet as he does, he notices something strange. The teeth of the scary-looking man in the paint currently appear to be less prominent than they were. Unnerved, he returns the paint to his vehicle and also continues on his method. His first evening in Derry, he eats supper and then goes to bed early. The following morning he gets up and also goes to his workshop, which is cluttered as usual. He leans the paint against an easel as well as gets to function. While functioning, he frequently glances at the paint, which rests in his line of vision. Once again, he notices that the man's teeth don't look appropriate. He pauses, brushes it off, and goes back to work. He doesn't want to acknowledge the undeniable that there is something wrong with the paint. Later on, after he has actually done some gardening, he decides to go right into town to acquire some materials. As soon as he's obtained what he needs, he returns home and also enters his workshop. He can't help, however, notice that the paint has actually changed once more. The man's teeth have grown progressively worse given that he bought it. He really feels a sudden urge to call his buddy Pete, the owner of a local junk store, as well as does so. Pete answers the phone as well as he and Kingle arrange to satisfy later that day. At the appointed time, Kingle gets to Pete's junk shop, which is filled with all kinds of odd products. As he speaks to Pete, Kingle discovers that he is even more disturbed by the painting than he was previously. He explains what he's seen and also Pete listens patiently. At first, Pete wants to laugh off the experience as a foolish joke. But when Kinnell shows him the paint, his tone changes. He concurs with Kinnell that something is wrong with the work of art. The two agree that Kinnell should attempt to return the paint to the woman whose garage sale he got it from. Kinnell thanks Pete for his assistance and also leaves. While driving, he considers the last couple of days and tries to figure out what he should do with the paint. He understands he can't keep it in his house and doesn't want to put it in his workshop. He decides that his best option is to take it back to the lady. He turns his car around and heads back to the bridge where he initially discovered the paint. There's no indication of a yard sale and he feels disappointed. He walks up to the bridge as well as drops the paint on the roadway. Suddenly, The paint starts to alter before his eyes. The roadway virus heads south. Taking a closer look, he sees a brand new inscription below the picture. It reads, "If you can't endure what's taking place to you, throw me in the water." In shock, Kinnell runs to his auto and also drives away as fast as he can. He drives for what seems like hours before stopping to rest. Eventually, he resumes his journey and also goes back to his home. He sleeps, yet is unable to relax. He awakens in the middle of the night and also goes to the restroom. As he splashes water on his face, he notices that his reflection has transformed. His teeth are filed in the exact same way as the guy in the paint. He can't comprehend what's happening. Back in his area, Kinnell attempts to write a letter seeking aid. Yet as he composes, he can't concentrate. Every time he tries to focus on his issue, he remembers the painting and also the horrifying man with the filed teeth. He shreds the letters as well as tries to sleep, yet can't. Instead, he goes to the bridge to toss the paint in the river as recommended. He finds the exact same sign that informed him to throw the paint in the water and sees that the roadway infection currently faces west. Kinnell shudders, recognizing that the infection is getting closer to him. He remains on the bridge for hours. However, the sun rises and he has actually still not thrown the paint in the water. Dejected, he drives back home. On the ride, he reviews everything that's taken place since he purchased the paint and feels overwhelmed. Kinnell understands he has to do something. If he doesn't, the road virus will eventually consume him. With no other options, he chooses to call his friend Pete and asks him to come over. Pete arrives and both friends speak about the problem. Neither understands what Kinnell must do, and also they review a number of concepts. None of them appear practical, as well as Kinnell is upset. He believes he's been tricked, and he desires Pete to assist him fix it. Pete understands that his buddy is desperate and does his ideal to support him. He doesn't think that the paint is bad luck, yet he can see that it's getting to his buddy. He thinks the most effective thing to do is to return the paint to the lady. However, he recognizes that it's not that simple. She may not want it back, and also Kinnell might not have the ability to manage the repercussions. As the story continues, Kinnell comes to grips with the reality that he has been duped, and also the roadway infection is consuming him. He understands that he has to take action before it's far too late. Kinnell attempts to contact the lady, yet she doesn't respond. He's worried that she may have transformed her mind and no longer wants the paint back. He understands that he has to do something before it's far too late. This story, initially published in 1984, was included in the collection Night Shift. According to King, the idea came to him while he was looking at a paint hanging in his home that his wife was a big fan of. Unlike some of his various other short stories, The Road Virus Heads North isn't based on any kind of actual events. Rather, it was inspired by a paint relocating picture tale he heard while in college. I enjoy that. What regarding this tale did you appreciate the most? Inform me in the remarks. Also, tell me your favorite Stephen King short story and why.